If you take a long time to make a decision, you're going to take a long time to unwind one. Everybody wants to get better and have confidence, but the first thing you got to do is you got to quit doing whatever's destroying your self-esteem.
When you give with sincerity and authenticity.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Grant Cardone, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Make quicker decisions.
Have you ever acted your way into a hole? I mean, because you just make decisions. You ever made one too quick and it's like, oh, that was the wrong one.
More often than not, dude, my instincts are right. And if they're not, at least I have the skill set to reverse quickly.
Gotcha.
Because if you take a long time to make a decision, you're going to take a long time to unwind one.
Say that one.
If you take a long time to make a bad decision, you're going to take a long time to unwind it.
Yeah.
Right? If I make a bad decision quickly, I buy a truck. I'm making this up. Boom, I'm going to buy that truck. I've made a decision quickly to buy it. I can also make a decision quickly to get rid of it. I bought a Cullinan, Rolls-Royce Cullinan, $446,000. I bought it before my growth conference. I bought it in the afternoon. Like, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to put it on the stage. I got it. I'm like, this is stupid. $500,000 for a truck is stupid. I sold it the next day. So bought it, sold it, boom. I wrote it off though.
Right.
I wrote it off because it was at my conference. So I'm just saying, like, if you get used to taking a lot of time to make decisions, if how you buy things is how you're going to sell things. And how you make decisions is how your organization is going to make decisions.
Rule number 2, don't destroy yourself.
First, I quit using drugs. I mean, the order, everybody wants to get better and have confidence, but the first thing you got to do is you got to quit doing whatever's destroying your self-esteem, you know? I'd like to believe that I could look in the mirror and tell myself I'm great and then I'd feel it, but if you're destroying yourself the other 23 hours and 56 minutes, the self-talk isn't gonna matter. So I had to quit doing damage to myself. I hated myself. The worst part of my drug addiction was it wasn't just what the drugs were doing to me and the hangovers and the lost time, and it was the personal deprivation and degrade that I was doing to myself.
Rule number 3, go do it.
The guy's house that I'm in right now, T. Boone's house, he died, I think he was, 89 or 90. But this guy did so much stuff, man. He would go from he grew up in poverty, becomes worth a couple $1 billion, loses all of it, goes back to like $5 billion. It's like this guy could swing so hard, but he was very active. You know, he knew all the presidential people. He was in power. And I'm not saying everybody here needs to do that, but everybody has the potential to do that. And if you have the potential to do that, you should be in a rush to go do it. You know, when we're excited about doing something, when you go on a vacation, you can't even sleep the night before. You're like, I'm gonna get up at 5 a.m. We're gonna go to the airport. You waking up every 45 minutes. Is it time to go? And most people are not doing their lives like that today. They're just kind of same thing over and over. So yeah, man, now I'm running, you know, when I was 22, I had all 40 years, and now I'm, you know, starting to run out of time, and I'm like, oh, I got to really get in a hurry now.
Rule number 4, give.
I'm at the Hensel Castle today. Hensel Castle is a castellated mansion in the Gothic architecture style, dating from the late 17th century. Some say maybe the early 18th century. I mean, this has got history here. So here we are today in Wales, talking about the attitude of service. One of the great rules of success is to give. The attitude of service is the rule of success that I promise you will deliver you at levels that you never imagined possible. It's what I built my career on. The ability to give at 100% and even more, and then keep giving. Nothing feels as good as giving. The more you give in life, in business, in relationships, the more you will get from that relationship, from your business, and from the world. Now, I'm not just talking about money and presence. How about energy? People ask me constantly, where do you get all your energy from? I get it from giving. How about money? The more money I give away to other people, whether it's employees or charities, the more money I'm gonna have. It could also be love or a smile or service or even education. When you wanna learn something, the best way to learn something is to start teaching it, sharing it with other people. Too many people today, they worry too much about what they get rather than what they can give to the marketplace, to their friends, to their families. When I have been most lost in my life, if I go into service, I will find myself, I will find my purpose again. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. If you don't have the money, the finances, the energy, if you don't have the friends you want, you're like, how can I give anything? I don't have anything to give. Everyone has something to give. Too many people have their hand out. Hey, what do I get? Too many people come to my office. What are you gonna pay me, Grant? What are my benefits? Where's my office? Where's my desk? What's my view? People worry about the dumbest little things. You're always worried about what you get, and guess what? When you're worried and focused about what you get, you end up getting less. If you find somebody you wanna work for, work with, go to them and say, hey, this is what I'm gonna give you. Let me do whatever you need done, and I will get it done. Trust me, you're not gonna be taken advantage of. You're gonna get more than you ever imagined. Give is one of the great rules of success. And when you give with sincerity and authenticity. If it's not real from you, if it's not authentic and genuine, if you're not there to give to lots of people, knowing a very few of them will reciprocate with you and do business with you, if you don't do that with sincerity, it won't work. The universe is set up this way. Look at the ocean. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. Everything works like this. You give and you will get back. You just have to trust it, and you got to get your presentation right. People know when someone truly cares. I remember the first business I built when I was 29, maybe 30 years old. I would knock on doors. Hey, my name's Grant. I'd like to come in and do something for your staff to improve their sales, to motivate them, to give them strategies. How much is this going to cost me, young man? Before anybody knew Grant Cardone. And I said, look, it costs nothing. This was my way of introducing myself to the customer. Not wanting something in that moment, but wanting to start and create a relationship. People would tell me, hey, look, is this legit? Is it really, really free? People are so untrusting. Why? Because they haven't given themselves. Nothing is as attractive as someone who is positive and someone that genuinely wants to make a contribution. And we're not just talking about money here. We're talking about you contributing your heart, your energy, a smile. Look, when you pass a homeless person, somebody that actually needs help, and that homeless person says, hey, can you give me some money? And you're like, no, I'm not gonna help you. How do you feel about that? If you give them something, even a smile, you will feel better. When you keep to yourself, when you don't take the time to give back, then the next few steps you take after that is you start to withdraw from people. Giving to others is like making deposits in a spiritual bank account. They will pay you back in the future.
Hey, man.
Everett, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
You got a book coming out, don't you?
You just came out.
Where can people get it?
Get it on Amazon, easiest spot, built to serve, right there.
Let's go, man. If you guys don't know Evan, follow Evan Carmichael. He's got a new book out, Build to Serve. Go grab it today at Amazon. This is a good dude right here.
Rule number 5, take responsibility.
Where's this 10X thing come from?
10X came from 2008 when the economy got crushed. I was in a completely different financial situation. And
Where were you?
I was in Los Angeles. I lived in Lionel Richie's house. And dude, I had it made. Like I was living the life. You know, Dre was my neighbor. Leo DiCaprio was next door. I'm dropping names now. I'm bragging. And throw it here, Johnny. And so when 2008 happened, I had 3 companies. The first 2 got crushed, and the third one was just frozen. It was a real estate company. And I couldn't do anything, and my hands were tied. I went from being free to trapped. And I said, I got to figure out what I did wrong. And rather than spending time blaming the mortgage, the mortgage crisis and the banks gave bad loans to people and trying to figure out, was it the Clintons or the Bushes that did this to me or whatever the political agenda was? I said, hey, what did I do wrong?
This has always got me out of trouble. What did I do wrong? Not what did you do to me? What did I do? How did I do this to me? So I don't repeat it again.
Rule number 6, change your environment.
Every morning for 10 years, I said, today's the last day. I'm never going to use again. 15 minutes
10
later.
years.
9 years and 9 years and like 6 months.
So what was the deciding factor that actually made you quit?
I finally went, I had to go someplace. I had to change my environment. So I went to a treatment center in Minneapolis during the wintertime, late February. I was 25 years old and spent 28 days there in an environment where nobody had drugs. I didn't have access to drugs. And people were starting to talk about, okay, how'd you get here? They ended up putting me on drugs in the treatment center. And I'm like, I don't want the drugs, dude. And they're like, oh, no, you need it to detox, to get off. I'm like, this was 30 years ago. They've really ramped that program up now. It's the legal drug dealer now, is the treatment center. But the environment gave me at least, I was able to look around and see the damage drugs were causing these other people, men and women of all ages. And then that really solidified, okay, I'm stopping. But I needed one day not to use drugs because I had been using drugs every day for 9.5 years.
Wow.
And so I needed the first day. Once I got the first day, I'm like, shit, I can put together 2 days. Then my head started clearing up a little bit. 28 days later, I go home to Lake Charles, Louisiana, and that's when the rebuilding really took place. And I had to replace all that drug time, which was a bunch of hours every day. This is what made me the beast, like the savage that I am today.
Rule number 7, learn to communicate.
If you're young, whatever that means, I would quit telling people your age. Like, I would not lead with I'm 12 or I'm 18. I'm only 22. Don't open with that. Nobody cares about your age. The only thing anybody cares about is their own age. Like, I've never thought, how old is Rob Moore? Never, ever, even like never considered that, because I don't care how old you are. I care how old I am, and that's a fact of life that people, Alexander the Great was 16 years old. He took over Persia. He didn't send a notice. Hey, by the way, I'm only 16. Like, not something. It's not good to lead with that. What you want to lead with is your ability to get attention and hook somebody. Okay. When my kids last night we were at dinner here, and these guys that I'm at dinner with, they've met everybody. You name them. If they're an American president, they met them. And this one guy looks at my daughter, Sabrina, and says, man, she is freaking amazing. She's 10. He's like, I've met them all. He's like, as an amazing human being. But it's because she knows how to communicate, right? How to get attention and hold it, how to keep it.
Rule number 8, go bigger.
I sat down and started writing. And I'm like, if I was 10x bigger, and if I was 10 times bigger right now, I would have $500 million worth of debt. $551 million. But I only have $51 million worth of debt. That's what I had in 2008. If I had, because the bank called me and said, we need the whole 51 million, or we're going to seize your property. I'm like, dude, nobody's got 50 million right now. The world's coming to an end. Had I owed $500 million, they wouldn't have treated me like that. They'd have called me and said, how can we help you, Mr. Cardone? Want to be sure everything's all right. So I went and told my wife, I said, I'm going to write a book called The 10X Rule. And she's like, what's the 10X Rule? The 10X Rule basically is I'm going to have $500 million worth of debt the next time, and the bank will be my friend. When COVID happened, I owed $1.4 billion to the banks. That was 12 years ago. That's 30 times what I owed, 30X. The day COVID happened, the economy shut down, the world started going crazy, dude. The government started saying mortgage moratorium, eviction moratoriums. Like, I had 6 banks call me in one day, Mr. Cardone, we'd like to come to your office, see how we can help you work through this. Get big, baby. Okay? It's the 10X rule, man. The 10X rule says go big or
go home.
No, go bigger.
Go bigger.
Never go home, man. There ain't nothing at home.
Go bigger.
Rule number 9, help others.
Looking for drugs, finding drugs, losing drugs, like you lose them,
hiding the drugs. Yeah.
Find them, buy them, lying to people, hiding from people. It was terrible. It was terrible. I did that for 9.5 years. It was awful. It's the worst part of my life. It's the darkest, worst part of my life. And so I had to crawl out. And then I replaced, literally, when I was 25 years old, I started every day with a meeting, and I ended every day with a meeting. I'd go to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting or some kind of 12-step program I'll bet you I did that for 15 or 16 years.
So you were all in committed. I'm going to a meeting in the morning and at night.
I'm going there to help myself, and I'm gonna help somebody else every day.
Wow, 15 years.
Yeah, and then that was my form of helping people. I'm like, I'm gonna help other people that have this problem. That really kept me from going back.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is have fun.
This guy takes the best photographs in the world.
Oh, this is it. Gotcha.
This guy takes the best video in the world.
What up, dog? What's happening with you?
That's little Johnny the camera guy. See, I had the same conversation with he's like, Grant, man, I'd love to bring you in, man, but you're not black, man. I said, yeah, what the matter what color I am, dude? I like why we care? People need information. I don't look at people. I don't look at like hate. I look at money. People need money.
Look, my mother raised me to love people for who they are. Period. What color they are. Who are they?
Yeah.
What is your spirit? What is your soul? What is your intake?
Yeah.
Because this don't mean
When money gets involved, color goes away.
Thank you.
Ain't nobody ever seen an ugly billionaire.
Me neither.
Huh?
Well, I ain't never seen an ugly dollar. Ugly
Hey man, I love you, man. Let's do some more stuff together, all right?
Let's please.
You got my
It
number.
ain't no accident why. Hey, Graham, it ain't no accident why.
Yeah.
You reached out and I got back and we doing it again.
Yeah, good,
now
good,
it's time
good.
to expand and do it bigger. You said multiply, let's
Yeah, let's do it.
multiply.
And for the right people.
You're right.
These people are all paying. But
You're
there's
right.
some kids that can't pay.
That need to get the
They need the
information
data
first.
Yeah, because their mama's teaching them how to save money. They'll never
Teaching
fucking
them how
make
to
save
make
money. Blackstone's taking retirement money. It's all bullshit. Dude, the whole thing's a scam. Saving money in the banks, scam.
I love that.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? The science says that when you just watch a video, you get motivated, you get inspired, you have a 35% chance of following through on your goals. 35%! That's not enough. That's not enough just to get motivated. Believe Nation, we're here. You're here. Today matters. You're an action taker. When you commit to a plan of action of when and how you're going to follow through, when you write it down, you have a 91% chance of following through. And when you commit publicly to somebody else, it jumps to 95% chance. From 30-something% to 95% chance of you following through. Believe Nation, we need to make this happen. So question of the day, your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action specific for the next week. Put it down in the comments below, and I'm going to show on screen sometime next week to celebrate you.
I knew I could do more. And yeah, I was starting at the bottom. Yeah, I was in debt. Yeah, I had no money. Yeah, my dad died when I was 10. Yeah, my older brother died when I was 20. Yeah, I was dealing with all these losses and tremendous amounts of depression, fear, angst, up and down kind of behavior. Like quitting wasn't going to get me any closer. Okay. And so, yeah, while all that was awful and terrible and it was tough, number one, dude, it's better than you imagine, I promise you. Ladies and gentlemen, 17 years old, you're 27, you're 37, you're 47, you're 57. It took me so long to get this thing right, to figure it out. I was 51 before I really started making it, okay? Before I started kind of, like making it intellectually, not in the physical universe. I hadn't made it yet in the physical universe. It started really clicking for me. And it was really only in the last 3 or 4 years that I'm like, bang, dude, something just happened. And I did not know that. I did not know if I just keep getting a little better every day, just a little tiny bit better every day, and you don't quit and you don't go backwards and you don't make excuses and you don't blame people and you stay away from the media and the gossip and the bull and the opinions. Let me tell you something. When you put together 10 years of a little bit of advance every day, a little bit, one day you look up and all of a sudden the advance you have made is so massive from where you started that you can't even believe that you got that far. I'll say the last thing about starting at the bottom. Starting at the bottom, it's terrible until you get where you want to be. Once you get where you want to be, starting at the bottom will be the greatest blessing. The greatest blessing. will be like, you know, nobody else knows, nobody needs to know that you started at the bottom and now you're here. And when you get there, wherever there is for you, and it's different for everybody, you're going to know, hey, I did this despite all that.
Hey, I want to talk to you today about success. Success, duty, obligation, responsibility. If you approach it any other way, which most people are, most people think, well, I'll be successful if the economy works. I'll be successful if something happens. I'll be successful if I win the lottery ticket. Look, you're not going to be successful if you don't demand it. If you literally don't stake a claim to it and say, this is mine, it's important, you're not going to have it, I promise you. I know, I'm telling you from experience. I spent the first 25 years of my life like a spectator, watching other people get successful and then wondering why I wasn't. Success is your duty. Single biggest mistake I've made in my career was not spending money. It's what put me in a position to be able to buy real estate because I had money, but I had to buy the real estate. I had to use the money. Brad Lee made a comment the other day about money. Money is not to be saved and hoarded. Like it's no good if you don't use it. This is the problem with Bitcoin. When do I transact with it, right? I'm sitting on $1 million worth of Bitcoin right now. I can't get rid of it fast enough. I can't go buy stuff with it. So until that situation is resolved, right? It's why people don't hoard gold anymore. You don't keep gold because you can't exchange it. Money is to be used. For those of you out there that are like complaining about the cost of anything, the truth is that's what that money's for. The only thing, the only purpose money has is to be used. And I was scared that I couldn't produce more money. So every time I spent money, I complained about it. Today, I'm like, that's the biggest mistake I ever made. Should have been spending more money. It wouldn't have taken me 30 years. In the first 5 years, I should have borrowed money I didn't have, and I should have spent money that I did have, and I should have gone into debt to do it, to get my brand out there, to get it known. The mattress guy in your town did it. The car guy in your town did it. Whoever spent the most money, whoever put it all out there all the time, every day, on every TV, radio, and the internet, wins the battle. It's not the prettiest guy, okay? It's not. It's the guy that out-advertises, that outspends you. It takes courage to make money.
Almost 90% of sales managers say they don't have time, you know? And again, it goes back to, look, if you knew it was going to bank you money today, would you make time for it? So they would make time for it because they make time for the things that make them money. If you have a customer, hopefully, if you have a customer and you're working a deal with that customer and you got a hamburger in front of you, hopefully you're going to push the hamburger aside and work that deal because the priority is to make money. In the same conversation, that sales manager does not believe that sales training converts to ROI or money, so he doesn't make the time for it. When you say you don't have time, the truth is you're saying I'm not making it a priority because I don't think it makes me money. Hey, a quick note out to all of you out there that believe that an open mind is important, which, by the way, I agree with you. I agree an open mind's important. You know the old saying, the mind is like a parachute. It won't work if it's open. But I want you to add one piece to that. If that parachute is wide open, you're falling straight to the ground. You understand what I'm saying? If it doesn't open, if the mind doesn't open, you're in trouble. If it opens too wide, you're a dead man bouncing or a dead woman bouncing. My point to you is this, okay? Most people do actually have an open mind. The problem is, many people, they have a mind that's wide open with no filters, no gates, no protection. You listen to everyone. You listen to everyone on Facebook, everyone on Instagram. You listen to your uncle, your aunt, your mom, your dad. When the mind's too open, you get too much data and you go into confusion. So look, you want to get your work ethic so high that people actually admire you. I'm going to ask you a question right now. Do people know you because of your unbelievable work ethic? If you can't answer yes to that, man, you're not going to get in that top 10%. You got to get at the top. People have to know you, not because, oh, he's a good salesman. Oh, he's a good this. Oh, he's an artist. Oh, he's a good pianist. Oh, he writes a great, story. No, dude, people need to know you for one major thing first. He works.
he produces. The guy's there every day. The guy's pushing and shoving. Because the truth is, no matter how good your ideas are, how good your art is, or how good your skill set is, if you're not working, man, if you're not vibrating at a frequency that people say, my God, how does that guy do all that? If you're not vibrating at that rate, 10x levels, massive action, tremendous work ethic that's just a muscle now, and it's just a discipline in your life, and it's a way, it's a normal way that other people think is abnormal. Ryan Seacrest, Tom Cruise, Oprah, Steven Spielberg, Donald Trump, still pumping and working as a billionaire. Look, if you're not working at that level, you're not going to make it. Get your work ethic in, man. It's the American way. Work ethic. Check it out.
How important is it to have that team? And to all those who are watching that are starting out their teams, what would be the advice that you would give them?
Yeah, well, the whole solopreneur thing, I'm going to do it by myself, I'm going to work from home, it's not even real. Like, I know it's popular, you see it on Instagram, and you think some guy's doing something on Instagram. He's not doing anything, dude. He posted an image of his car that he washes on Instagram, okay? Okay, it might not even be his car, by the way, okay? He's rubbing out his car and posted somebody else's car. He posted a picture of Edwin's car as he passed up here in the hills. So, after he freaking mowed my lawn. So, what would I tell you? Dude, you got to be on a team. I mean, like how are you going any place by yourself? You live on a planet with 7 billion people. You're like, I hear people say all the time, I'm an introvert, and I don't like people. Do you live on planet Earth? Okay, kind of the wrong place to introvert. So, people, I know people that can't swim, man. I'm like, 2/3 of the planet is water. You might want to get your strokes on, dog. I mean, there's a chance in your lifetime that you're going to need people, and you might need a backstroke, right? You might need to be able to hold your breath at some point. So like, I don't understand why people aren't getting prepared. We live on a planet that is basically, it's got gravity on it, it's got an atmosphere, and there's one common thing, whether you're Chinese, Hispanic. I don't think Hispanic's even a group, is it? Latinos, man. Okay, sorry, man. Okay, you got blacks, you got whites, you got Italians, you got all these people, right? Koreans. We got all these people, but the truth is, man, economics bind us all together. Okay, I go down to the grocery store and there's somebody from Korea in there. I'm trading money with that person. Okay, that is the exchange. You're on a team. Your team can be your team that has the goal they want to go get is to hit a target. But part of your team is also the people you're selling to. Right. And part of your team is also, another team is the community you live in. And another team is your church, and your family, man. These are all teams, right? And your job and my job, I mean, if you want to be all alive, all in the deal, your job is to you need to be a freaking super champion of all these teams, right. Not just one team. The negativity is just negative. And there's no money in it. There's no future in being negative. Where's the solution? I can't do that. We can't do that. That can't happen. This is wrong. That's wrong. Oh my gosh, taxes are too high. Taxes are too... Dude, it's negative. It is negative. It is negative. Look, there's so much abundance of negativity. That by itself tells you why there's no value in it. How many of you want to make more money? Pay attention then. You can't make more money if you don't know what we're doing here. So the first thing is to decide, hey, am I in the right place? Those guys had to walk in that stadium last night and say, hey, we in the right place? Yeah, man. Okay. And then they probably said, man, we got a shot here. We got a chance to win a Super Bowl, right? You came to work today. This is not a Super Bowl. Unless you want it to be. But I'm going to tell you something. If you don't get your life ready right now, if you don't start acting right now like you're in the Super Bowl, you're never going to make one anyway. Even when you do make one. I mean, if you look at that kid last night, what's his name? Nick Foles? He's been sitting on the sidelines for years, overlooked for years. What you do right now, every day, even if you hate your job, I promise you this will happen in your life. If you can learn how to embrace every moment like this is a Super Bowl, one day you're going to get your shot. You're going to get your shot, but your shot will not show up if you're not ready. Because even if it shows up, if you're not ready, you won't be able to see it.
Within any company I own, I have 4 and 5 flows in every company. I don't have one flow. I'm not going to depend on one product. Once I get those 4 streams coming in from one company, okay? For instance, at this company, it's an online project called Cardone University. Then there's speaking gigs. Then there's books. Then there's audios. There's MP3s. Those are flows coming in for one company. At some point, I'm like, okay,
let's do a second deal. So I'm going to then have a company that runs parallel, like a skier, right? I don't want the skis crossing over. I want them to be parallel so that anything that maybe I can't do any longer in this company, maybe I'm going to outsource to a partner and build a second company. Then once these two are skiing along and happy, maybe I'm gonna go do a third company out here that I have a passion for that has nothing to do with these first two. That is not diversification. That's multiple strong flows. And when I make a bet on this third company, dude, I want to take it. I want to take all the money from these first two flows, and I want to say, hey, if it's a good deal, go all in. If you're not sure, don't put any money in it at all, folks. So you know what I do? Every time I'm having trouble, every time I'm like, man, I don't think I can get to where I'm going, I just start looking at the top. I don't look at the bad facts. All I do is I start searching. Tell me about wealthy people, facts about wealthy people, anything. What are they doing? What are they buying? It just gets me out of my problem, right? It gets me to think bigger. You know, the first plane I bought this plane because I saw other wealthy people making moves. I'm not an irresponsible person, okay? Like, I have always been a very frugal person, but the frugal was hurting me, not helping me. The old adage is your network is your net worth. How rich you can get has something to do with who you're hanging with. How rich you can think has something to do with who you're hanging with, okay? How smart you are has something to do with your surroundings. If you hang out with dumb people, you're going to end up dumb. If you hang out with junkies, you're going to end up being a junkie. You hang out with criminals. I'm not talking about the people that go to jail. I'm talking about all the people at your office right now that cheat their employer and cheat themselves. You hang out with crims, you end up being a crim. If you want to build a network, number one thing, commit to building a network. A network by definition is not, if you're building a new network, is not the people you're already with. It's how do I add people to my network? So number one, you got to commit to building a network. Number two, who do you want in the network? Who is it? Most of you just go for more people like you have already in your network. I want new people, new characters, new personalities, new thinking, new ideas. The old adage, if you're the smartest person in the room, you in the wrong room. And number three, when you start building this network up and you start meeting the people, okay, number two is who do you want to meet? Who are you going to add to the network? You go 9,000 people in a room, you don't need to meet all 9,000. You need to meet maybe a list of 30 or 40 people. Who do you want to meet? Number three, when you meet them, focus on them, not on you. It shouldn't be, here's my card, I'm a chiropractor, this is what I do, can I give you an adjustment? Dude, it should be like, who are you? How can I help you? What are you doing? Where do you live, okay? What projects are you working on? How can I help you? There's so many mistakes salespeople make. I think you need to get down to like the main ones, but you're not selling the solution. I mean, even before that, though, I would say, Corinne, is the biggest mistake. People are not excited. They're not alive. They're not showing interest in the cycle, and they lose interest. I was in Barcelona recently, and I was looking at a watch, and the cycle didn't close. I could have bought the watch. I was qualified to buy the watch. I'm the one that walked myself in the shop on my vacation to look at the watch. I knew exactly the watch I was looking for. And when I left, my wife said, what could he have done to close the sale? I said, well, he could have kept life in the cycle. He could have kept the cycle open. So what I mean by that is, look, if you're not interested, if you don't believe the cycle can be closed, it will not close. So the number one mistake I think salespeople, managers, and the store makes is they assume a close can't be had that day. I go into every cycle, every sales cycle with every prospect, every phone call, no matter how complex the sale is or how simple it is, with the belief that I can sell that product that day, this time, now.
Being on planet Earth, like if you want to be a good father, a good mother, a good son, like a good humanitarian, you got to go door to door. There's no other place to learn that. Like the skills that I learned at, I guess I was 30 years old, probably for 3 years I did door-to-door sales. It was door to business.
Okay.
I mean, whatever that's called.
Business to business.
Business to business. Come on, you dropping bombs. This guy, all the intelligence in the world in one little space. So, what I learned business to business, calling on, hey, my name's Grant Cardone, figuring that pitch out, handling my fear, handling the opportunity to learn this. First of all, it's not taught in college, it's not taught in high school. If it's not taught there, you got to ask why. Okay? I mean, they don't teach you anything in most of these schools, in formal education. The real skills you need are not done in a desk.
Right.
They're done when you walk up. First of all, when you leave your car and you walk up the sidewalk, and you're like, I don't know these people. They don't know me. Anything could happen when they open the door.
Yeah.
I hope they don't answer. That's the best outcome here, you know? And all the stuff that you're going through, like some of the most successful people I know have been on missions. They spent 2 years on missions.
I was on a mission.
Yeah.
So.
Some of the like I know a guy that's going to take his company public this year, a multi-billion-dollar company, started from scratch, no formal education. He was in missionary work. Hey, work to your potential, not your quota. If you want to stay really motivated, if you want to answer the question to why people that have already made it keep pushing, it is because they don't operate on quotas, they operate off potential. They're driven to reach their potential. This is also tied to their ethical obligation. They know what they're capable of. Nobody can tell you what you're capable of. You're the only one that knows, okay? So work to your potential, not your quota. Quotas are numbers. Who made them up? Some guy says, okay, your quota is blah, blah, okay? Based on what? How did he come up with that quota? He only picked that quota, that number, because he thinks it's significant or compared to other people maybe in your industry. Look, don't operate on quotas. You want them, clearly you want them, but you want to be driven to reach your potential, not just some number, some mechanics. Hey, my potential, I know. Nobody else knows it. I know what it is. You know yours. Work to your potential, not just a quota, and I promise you, you will be on fire day and night. I go out every day. This is how I think about money. I'm running every day for money. I'm fucking busting my ass, man. I'm busting my ass every day. I'm busting my ass. I'm busting my ass, trying to fill up the refrigerator, take care of the kids, get good education for them, fuel the plane up, put fuel in the plane, fly the plane, take care of the plane, wash the plane, right? Get a new plane, okay? Advertise, right? Advertise, take care of my wife, buy her some Chanel, invest in my business, right? This is what I'm doing all day long, you know? And then what I'm trying to do really is I'm trying to put this money to use at some point. Okay, I operate with what I call as a 40% point. I'm looking for 40% to save on my income. Whatever it takes, how much money do I need to make so that I have 40% that I can take over here and shove a big giant piece of cake into a deal? Now, the phenomenon about 40% is this. There's a point where it's impossible for you to save 40%. See, I found I had to get to around $10,000 a month in income to save $4. So I had to keep making this go up. The income is the only thing that restricts how much money you can invest and save. So this is why the guy that says, I'm good. How many of you have employees that are like, I'm good making 50 or 60 grand a year? They'll never be motivated because they're screwed up about money. They have the wrong knowledge about money. 76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. You can send them to as many Tony Robbins seminars as you want to. You will not change the state of a person indefinitely if they have money problems every day. It is impossible because I contract every time I'm at Whole Foods. And I said to her, I said, look, the thing that I do at my company that is very unusual is that we are completely unreasonable. Without reason, we don't use, yes, I'm logical, okay, yes, I'm a sane person, but when it comes to achieving a target, we do it with, we abandon reason and logic. We don't talk about, yeah, but, we never start, yeah, but, or no, we can't, or we couldn't because, or it didn't happen because. Anytime you're making sense of why something didn't work, we don't have the budget, we can't do that because, yeah, but we're different. You are being reasonable. The great things that have happened on this planet and continue to happen are because people are unreasonable. They literally abandon reason and logic. They defy the universe. Now, if you look around, if you're a logical person, if you're a person that has to make sense of it beforehand, then spend some time looking around the universe. Look at nature. Look at all the things that are done every day that literally defy gravity, defy possibility, defy physics. It's all over the place if you need to be reasonable. Now, in my case, I don't need to be reasonable because there's enough cases of super successful people doing things that are amazing, whether it was a manufacturing, a new product, or whether it was Steve Jobs coming back to Apple and turning that company around. Every day, look at Amazon. Look what Amazon has done. Okay, now you look at it, you're like, dude, that's a no-brainer. Make all products available online. Now it's a no-brainer. Now it's like, it's so logical. Look at Velcro. Velcro was like, God, I should have thought of that. See, but beforehand, it was completely out of reason that you could stick things together because they scratch one another. You understand what I'm saying? So look, this is what I want you to try. Try this in your life. It's going to be very difficult. It's one of the most difficult things I do is being unreasonable because all the people I'm surrounded by are trying to make sense of why they can't do something. Quit making sense of why you can't do something and become unreasonable until you do something. What are you going to do when you wake up and you feel lost? You feel less than. You feel a sense of either depression or despair and no direction. What I do is this. I show up. I show up, man. A buddy of mine told me when I was at a super low point in my life. He said, "Hey, man, show up even if your eyes are bleeding and your life is low. Show up anyway." Bigger is better. How many agree with this? Okay, if you can live on 900 grand, the only people that won't go to 9 million are the people that are selfish. Unselfish people grow their businesses. Selfish people don't. Okay, if you're taking notes, if you're going to walk away with something today, give me the name of a great company that has 7 employees. I'm waiting. Give me the name of a great company that doesn't spend a load of money on advertising. Who is this company? Tell me, give me one name of any company that's great, that's small. See, you built a business on a fantasy, right? Like I'm going to get a State Farm. I'm going to get a State Farm. I'm going to get an All-State company. I'm going to be an All-State guy, and I'm going to make 900 grand a year. You're selfish, folks. See what I'm saying about the selfish person makes what they need. The unselfish person says, I'm going to make more than I need. I've been lost most of my life, literally the first 45 years of my life. The first probably 51 years of my life. First 45 years for sure, I was completely lost. And somewhere between 45 and 51, I started figuring out, okay, what am I doing? I started sorting my life out. I started doing some courses that really, really made a difference in my life. I've always been into self-improvement my whole life. But it wasn't until I was about 45 that I really started discovering information that could make me more confident, me more sure. You know, when I was 25 years old, I was a young salesperson and I didn't like sales, and I got educated on how to sell, and I became very, very good at it. I started to understand the process, the customer, the objections, the rebuttals, how to follow up, how to handle the rejection and the disappointment, the discouragement, how to get over it. But that didn't help me become more confident in me as a person, as an individual. I was making money. By the time I was 31, I had a couple businesses. They were making money. Probably had, $300,000-$400,000 saved when I was 31 years old, because I was starting to make a little money, right? By the time I'm 33, I got probably $1 million in the bank. I still didn't feel good about myself. I had this nagging, like, sense of desperation, anxiety, depression, uncertainty, a lack of confidence. And when I started working on me spiritually, that's when at 45, 46, 47 years old, that's when everything changed for me. Like everything, all the expansion, the confidence, the getting out in the world, the maybe a little better communicating than I was doing. I'm not perfect at it by any means now. And I started getting more certainty about who I am, what I am, where I'm going, and why I'm here. Like if you don't figure those things out, no amount of money in the world will fill you up. No, the private planes won't, the fancy cars. You have to know where you're going.
How do you do this? I started with one employee. His name was Grant Cardone. I knew him, and so I hired him. Right? He passed the drug test. I believed in him. And for 15 years, I was one guy. And then one day I woke up, a mentor of mine said, look, you can't scale with just yourself. You got to start building a business here. If you're going to have a real business, you need employees, you need people. You need to be willing to hire people. And I'm like, man, but I'm scared. They cost money. He's like, not making sales. 1, 2, 3, 4. These empty desks, that's what's costing me money. Okay, that's what's costing you money. Staying small is costing you money. All this costs money. I have failures here. I have disappointments. I have discouragements. I have people that work here for a little while and they quit. But you're not going to get big by yourself. You can do more. You can do more than you ever imagined. I was broke at 25 years old. Broke, okay? Every 2 years I get one of these cars. The people at Rolls Royce like, hey, we want to send you another one of those cars, okay? How you want it? How you want it dressed? What color you want it? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy the life I'm living right now. We did a conference. There was 10,000 people in the room and another 10,000 people online. All of them paid to be there. I remember when I couldn't get 2 people to show up at a party in high school because I was so disliked. You can do more than you think you can, is my message to you today. You will live longer than you think. I promise you, okay? You can do more than you think you can.
Your parents were looking for 40 grand. It doesn't pay for anything today. So you need to change the way you think. How many of you were taught when you ate, when mama brought you a meal, she said this, she brought you the meal, threw it on the plate and said, eat it all. How many of you were told that? You know what she was trying to tell you? Don't waste money. That's what she was trying to say. What she was really saying is, I don't know how to make more money. She was really saying there's a shortage of money, eat it all. There's people in China starving. How many of you get that message every day? How many of you, when you walked out of your bedroom, your mama said, turn off those lights? What was she telling you? I don't know how to get new money. That's what she was telling you. My dad died when I was 10. My mom was left to bring up 5 kids, okay? And those are the messages I got every day. The same message was this: contract, get small, back up, protect yourself. I can't win anything like this. I cannot succeed for my family like this. I do not want my kids to see me like this. I want my kids to see me on attack, right? Confidence in the marketplace. How do you get confidence? You read, man. You guys got to read, okay? The average American reads less than 1 book a year. Half those books are romance novels. Now, I don't have my books with me today, but I've written 4 books since 2009 for this new economy. I wrote those books for me. I didn't write them for other people. I did not write them to get known. I wrote those books because I was trying to figure out, how do I get myself out of this problem? How do you control? How do you discipline? How do you start monitoring what you're saying to yourself? I can't find the right girl. I can't find the right guy. Marriage is hard. I'm broke, I'm poor. It's gonna be hard if you don't change your mind. You gotta change the way you think. And the way to change the way you think, first of all, the one way is to start disciplining yourself. Catch yourself every time you say, I don't have time, say, hey, I create time. Every time you say, I don't have money, I create money. Literally like talking to yourself, hey, I am a millionaire. So if you're broke right now, quit saying I am broke and start saying what you want. Where are you going? It's not complicated. You want to get rich? I got rich. You want to get rich? You can. Nothing and no one stopping you from doing that.
If you're not going to work, like a 10-hour day is a short day for me. I hear more people promoting this 4-hour idea, okay? Like Tim Ferriss, I'll just call him out right now. It is complete bunk. It is complete. You cannot outsource everything. This idea that you're going to be a solopreneur, outsource or work 4 hours or part-time, you guys try to do the part-time thing, you will have full-time problems. Forever, to the end of your life. Not only will you have problems, because you're selfish if you're trying to do a 4-hour work week. You're selfish. You're thinking only about yourself. If you don't scale and hire people, you're also selfish. You're trying to manage money rather than saying, hey, I have a great message. Like you have an obligation, man, to get out there and help people. So I don't know how to do 10 hours. I know I need 6 to 7, maybe 8 hours of sleep a day. The question is, how am I going to best utilize my other 16 hours with my family, as a father, as a community leader, as somebody that's interested in changing the conditions around me, right? And how can I use that phone to maximize those 16 hours? And how can I spend time with my kids that actually adds value to my business, right? How can I create a studio so me and my wife can work together on Wednesdays? Like everything that we do here is about my life, so that I'm dropping stuff into my life bucket. My work gets dropped in here, so it's like, everything I do. I go on a trip, I go look at real estate, I do an interview, I set up a house in Deer Valley for a month. I have people come over, investors, I look at real estate. Everything is basically, what is it?
You're churning.
Yeah, exactly, inside a soup, right? I'm making a meal called my life. And that's what I would tell people to do. Quit thinking about how little you can do and start thinking about,
I'm going to save money. This is what you hear. If you look on the internet, how do I make money? First thing you got to do is you got to save money. What do you hear the politicians say? The middle class, I'm here to save it. What if there is no middle class and it was just made up to keep the people civil? See, that's how you're going to play this game. You got to be available. People have to know you. Don't talk to strangers. Strangers got everything you want, man. Everything you want, a stranger's got it. Shit, your friends ain't got nothing. Right? If it's up to your friends, you're done. You're like, oh, my friends are broke. I'm 25 years old. Everybody around me was broke, okay? My mama was scared. Every time, my mama, Tuesday, she's clipping coupons. That was the reason to get the newspaper. Shit, the coupons are coming. She would sit there and clip them, man. She had them in the little box. I learned that for 16 years. I watched my mom do that. For 16 years, my mom would tell me, hey, Grant, turn those lights off. Turn those lights off. Me and my twin brother, turn those lights off. From across the house, she could hear me walk out of my bedroom 75 feet away and say, hey, turn those lights off. I told you, okay? Twin brothers, okay? I'm 16 years old, my twin brother. My mom said, when you guys go pee, do it together. Saves water, right? Okay. When my mom fed me, because I had a great mom. Unbelievable. How many of you had great parents? Give your parents a great hand, huh? Good. Hey, just because they were great parents doesn't mean they weren't confused, right? Because my mama was confused, man. My mom did not know how to make money. She had no education. She had no ability. She had never held a job. She did not know how to get money. So what she had to do was protect the little bit of money she had. Sell or be sold. She was sold on conservation. Reduce risk. Don't spend. Contract. Protect it. Defend it. You understand? Diversify. Have a lot of little bets all over the place, okay? Lots of little bets. You should never have a lot of bets all over the place until you're extremely wealthy. When you're trying to get wealthy, you want to go all in and it not be a bet. You need to know the space so well that you're like, I know for sure this is going to work. What do you know will pay you every time? For sure.
Everybody's trying to go out there and not sell. You guys are all trying to like, I'm gonna be talented. Talent does not win. I know a whole bunch of guys less talented than me that beat me for years. They beat me because they got exposure in the marketplace.
Can you name some of those names?
Just in different sectors. Okay. In real estate, okay? There's a group that they went out and bought 140,000 units. I got 4,500. They're not as good. They take a lot of shortcuts. They don't take care of the tenant as well as I do, but they thought way bigger than I did. So You know what I'm saying? Like, it's in different spaces. There was an automotive space that I was in for years. I was the leader in the automotive space. Me and another guy constantly combating, right? He had a garbage product. He sold for less than I did. He scaled better than I did. He beat me at the scale game. So you can't, see, a lot of people say, look, man, Steve Jobs started his business in a garage. I think Cadillac's got a commercial where the Cadillac was created in a garage. Who else? Bill Gates started his business in a garage. Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook in a dorm. Everybody's like, oh my God, man, I can do this from home. None of those companies got big when they stayed in the garage of the dorm. Marky Z didn't make it until he moved to Silicon Valley and built a team, okay? Google didn't become Google until they had a campus in Silicon Valley and they scaled to tens of thousands of employees. So you have to scale to be great.
So would you say then for the average entrepreneur out there, as they're growing their business, getting those sales, they should definitely be setting some of that income aside
You should
outsource?
Yeah, you should not be thinking about what you can live on, right? Oh, I made $8,000 this month, man. All of it's net profit. All that money should be reinvested in people. So that's why people think incorrectly. That's why I always go back to this argument about, look, the solopreneurs are selfish, almost like a little selfish child, right? I'm gonna go out, I left my job, I was making 90 grand. Now me and Gary Vaynerchuk had this conversation. I was making 90 grand, now I'm gonna work for myself and make 90 grand. And Gary's like, well, yeah, the guy's better off. The guy's better off working for himself for 90 grand than working for somebody else. And I'm like, dude, nobody's better off working for 90 grand. You can't live on 90 grand.
Not today, you can't.
No, anywhere in America. There's nowhere in America. You live for 90 grand in Miami, you're gonna have $12,000 before taxes left over at the end of the year if you don't shop at Whole Foods. So the point of that is, if you were working for $90,000 for a company and then you go work for yourself for $90,000, you should be taking that money and buying a secretary, buying a receptionist, buying scale, buying a sales team, reinvesting money. You should not have any money left over at 90 grand.
LeBron shows up. This dude comes in 15 minutes before practice, and LeBron gives him that look like, hey, dude, what's going on here? He's like, what do you mean I'm 15 minutes early? He's like, should have been here an hour ago. And when he says that to this dude, the guy knows LeBron's been there for 2 hours. So all I ask you to do, like, here's a guy, probably the best that's ever walked out on a basketball court, short of Michael Jordan. But both of them had one thing in common. They worked, okay? It wasn't about just their talent. It was about their work ethic. People knew them for their work ethic. So just ask yourself this week, do people know you for your work ethic? Are people like, man, you work hard? Are people actually commenting about you showing up early and staying late? Because if they're not, then you're just blending in with everybody else's work ethic. At the end of the day, talent will not win the game. It is work ethic that will win the game. So when I saw this, I'm like, here's a guy, top of his game, he's got all the money you could possibly, he could never spend all his money. Impossible. He'll be a billionaire, okay? And he's showing up 2 hours early to make sure he plays the game, to make sure he's in physical condition, to make sure that he can stay in the game long past it. He doesn't even need it. He's got all his rings. I got to tell you, I was so inspired by it because I got a bunch of partners. I got guys that I do business with. I got one of them in particular that I'm having some problems with. He told me, man, if I had your money, dude, I would retire. He said it to me over and over, and I hadn't been listening to it enough to understand. He wants to go lay down, okay? You cannot run, what's that thing called you did? You can't do an Ironman with that attitude. Don't know why you'd want to do an Ironman. But I tell you what, if you could do an Ironman and then take that and add it to your career, to the longevity of your career, you know, because look, it's going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's going to be 20 years. You're going to look back and say, and the marketplace is going to reward whatever you do every day. I'm in a lot of battles every day that nobody sees. I mean, some of these battles are brutal, man. Like there's some things, it doesn't matter how many people you have around. You could have 85 employees, another 150 some other place. You could be married, have kids. There are so many things that a person, if you're in the game all the way, you will have to do by yourself. You're gonna die by yourself. Like, it doesn't matter how many people you get around. Dude, there's some things you gotta confront your fears by yourself. You gotta confront your doubts by yourself. Like, that's the stuff that I'm doing every day. So I'm stringing a lot of futures. I got a lot of games going on all the time. I got a lot of games I wanna win at. half of them I lose, half of them I win, but I'm gonna fight. Like I have a tremendous, I don't have the flight.
Fight or flight.
I have the fight. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter. Like I've really trained the fighter because I remember being bullied as a kid and I didn't like it. So, you know, I'm a fighter. I'm in there figuring out the fight. Like all this stuff that I do all the time, the webinar, I've done 3 webinars in 22 days. Nobody's done that. Nobody's ever done bang, 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 bang. Two are free. The third one we sell. Like, I mean, super successful. These are best-selling, multi-million-dollar webinars out of an idea. While I'm doing that, I'm negotiating a $160 million sale, $125 million refinance, a $160 million purchase. We started our 4th fund, dude, just like, how do you do it? The more you guys get going on, the better you're gonna like the game, I'm telling you. This car right here, this Rolls Royce Wraith with freaking the magic astrological zodiac sign built into the ceiling with little sparkles. Dumbest damn thing you could ever buy in your life is a big expensive luxury car. In fact, okay, in my rant today, I want to share with you one of the things that I did smart in my life was I never bought these exotic cars that everybody seems to go out and buy as soon as they make a little money. What I did was this. I waited to ever do a dumb thing like this. One of the dumbest things I ever bought in my damn life, okay? I waited until, number 1, I didn't have to buy one, and number 2, until it didn't matter. I just got my financial statement in 3 months, the first 3 months of this year compared to last year, a double. You understand what a double is? A double means I can do stupid shit now, okay? Look, once you make enough money to where you can blow $461,000 and it don't matter, then go do it, okay? Until then, do not waste your money. I'm sorry, this car was only $384,000. I didn't want to exaggerate to you, but I think they added some stuff to this bad boy. So look, until then, don't waste your money on watches and cars and Brioni suits, okay? It's ridiculous. You guys that are buying $1,200 shoes, stupid. You guys that are buying $200,000 cars, stupid. You guys that are spending money on homes, no offense, but you're stupid. You don't need an expensive house. You don't need a country club yet. What you need is paper. You need money, baby. You need net worth. You need passive income. You need flows, baby. Flows and flows and flows. You don't need a Rolls Royce. Fear is the great indicator. Sooner or later, you will experience fear when you start taking new actions at new levels. In fact, if you aren't, then you're probably not doing enough of the right things. Fear isn't bad or something to be avoided. Conversely, it's something you want to seek and then to embrace. Fear is actually a sign that you're doing what is needed to move in the right direction. What is fear anyway? I mean, really, does it even exist? Is it real? I know it feels real when you're experiencing it, but admit it, most of the time, what you fear doesn't even occur. Fear, for the most part, is provoked by emotions, not rational thinking. Chances are that when you were a child, you found fear in irrational things, the boogeyman under the bed, for example. Adults have their own boogeymen, the unknown, rejection, failure, fear of success, and on and on. For example, if you're afraid to call a client, then it's that sign that you should call that client. Fear of speaking with the boss is an indication you should march into his office and ask for a moment of his time. Everyone experiences fear on some level. Fear doesn't just tell you what to do, it also tells you when to do it. Ask yourself, what time is it at any point in the day? And the answer is always the same. The time is now. The time is always now. And when you experience fear, it's a sign that the best time to take action is at that very moment. Now, the only thing that will make a difference in that moment of fear is action. Failure comes in many forms. It occurs whether you act or you don't act. Regardless of the outcome, I would say it's far preferable to fail while doing something than to fail by over-preparing while someone else walks up and scoops up your dreams. Fear is a sign to do whatever it is you fear and do it quickly. I grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana, for those of you who don't know my story, and my dad was he had 5 kids, wife. He was dedicated and committed to being the provider for his family, like many of you are. How many of you provide for your family? probably want to do a good job at it. My dad wanted to do a good job at it. So my dad died when I was 10 years old. He had owned a life insurance company. He actually started a life insurance company. It was taken from him and a partner. It was taken from him at the age of, I guess he was 42 years old. 42 years old, he's got 5 kids. He's got a wife to take care of and no job. How many have been in transition before? Yeah. So 42, a lot of obligation now, starting to move into the middle class. 42 years old, he's got twin boys coming. They didn't plan us. You know, good Catholic family, doing the planning. Every 5 years they'd have a baby. So he was planning. You could tell, like when I look back in his life today. This is a long answer to a short question, but like you guys need to figure out your why you're going to do whatever you're going to do. My dad knew why he was going to do what he was going to do, but my dad didn't think big enough. I got 2 things from my dad. One, every day he worked, he was up early, he stayed late. He's in transition between 42 and 52. He's in transition in his life, right? He's having to go from life insurance company, big dream, company gets stolen away from him. He's like, what am I doing? Right? This is the story of the middle class right here. This is called gravity. This is yesterday's Miami bridge falling. And everybody's like, I can't believe that happened. Structures fall, folks. So this is what I learned from my dad. My mom had to sell a dream house that was paid for in cash. My dad bought a dream house a year and a half before he died. We all went in, celebrated. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. This is crazy. This is great. We made it to the middle class. My dad dies. My mom has to sell the house literally a week after my dad dies. When she should have been grieving, she was having to sell this dream house. You understand what I'm saying? This is what I learned when I was 10 years old. Man, life is short. Okay? My dad didn't provide. He worked hard, but he didn't have enough. Because if he had enough, my mom would not have had to sell the dream house. Everybody agree with that? Okay? My mom did not know how to produce new income, so my mom had to go into conservation. So when you ask me the question, how'd you start? I started with the wrong data. Okay? I started with the wrong data. And the data was, hey, life is short, something bad's gonna happen, all that's true. But if you could outproduce, if you could produce enough income, you could start solving some of these problems, like indestructible income.
My daddy told me Dr. Kerr, our local doctor, he was the most successful doctor we knew both the most successful doctors, Dr. Kerr and Dr. Morin, right? And Dr. Kerr was at the house and they're drinking martinis. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna drink martinis, I'm gonna be James Bond, right? And Dr. Kerr came up to me and says, give me $1. I had $1 too. He's like, give me that $1. I'm like, I ain't giving you $1. My daddy said, never deny a man in power. Never deny a man in power, okay? Never talk poorly about somebody in power. Push power to power. That's a good investment, folks, okay? If you're taking notes, write this down. Push power to power. People that are doing good things, people that are making a difference, people that are out there, push power to power and ignore everyone else. We don't help people that have nothing. I'm telling you right now, I do not help people that have nothing. I help people that have something and want to make it more. I'm not talking about money right now. If somebody thinks they have nothing, I'm not helping that person. If they think they have nothing, I can't help them. If you think you have something and that you're not broke, I can help you. Because you're not broke, okay? This lie you tell yourself about, I don't have any money, I don't have any money. You have something, man. You got commitment, you got creativity. You can't bankrupt a guy like me. How you gonna take all my money? I get asked this all the time. Man, what would you do if somebody took all your money? Ain't nobody gonna take all my money. Okay, nobody can take all my money. Nobody thinks big enough. You can't steal all my money, dude. A thief never thinks big enough. That's why he steals. A thief steals less than he could have made honestly. Okay, but if I didn't have any money today, take away everything, whatever that means, everything is, I'm still left with what? I'm Grant Cardone. I got courage. I have creativity. Those are the things that matter. Okay, I'm willing to come off of a damn
whatever that thing is, the box. I got guts. I'm willing to be bold, right? How many of you have those things? How many of you got courage? How many of you got creativity? How many of you got guts? How many of you got dreams?
If you want even more Grant Cardone, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
You're around people that say, hey, money won't make you happy. I'm with you. It ain't gonna make you happy, but it'll buy a nice villa that you can bring your kids and some support